her skirt.
Oh, my God.
And it was a dress, and
Yeah.
he lifted it up. And I'm telling you, she didn't hesitate. She cracked him in the face, and everyone in there just went silent. You hit the owner of the station. And I'll tell you what, he didn't do a damn thing about it.
Today, he'd really have a problem doing that.
Boy.
Yeah.
He should have had a problem with it back then.
Yeah, but back then, it didn't have all the stuff going on. But.
No.
I can see Pat White doing that.
Oh, man.
Doing dress-up day to his staff.
Fight for our. Let every lawyer Iowan.
Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That is public access TV. My name is Dirk Keller. This gentleman here, that's Bob Boyd.
Good
That
afternoon.
gentleman over there, that's Pat White.
Hi, Dirk.
Pat, great to have you back. I'm sad to say it's your last show with us for a while.
For a while, yeah.
You've done a great job.
Well,
of
I've
gotten-
enjoyed it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been fun.
Good.
Thanks for inviting me. I should say thanks to the viewers. One of the things that's really been interesting to me is the number of people who have stopped me to say they watch the show and
That's great.
enjoy it.
That's great. Well, I've had a number of people stop me and say they enjoy seeing you on there too.
Yeah,
That's nice.
that's right.
They
enjoy
it's
Pat.
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And we can't forget Earl Murphy. It's his show.
Earl the Pearl.
Earl's here. Joe Murphy's behind the camera and the lights, making everything happen, and we are here. Even get started. I just want to mention to you guys, if you didn't know it already, yesterday was the 83rd birthday for Hayden Fry.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
83 years old, born on February 28th. I think he's doing all right. He'll be back again, hopefully, for the Fry Fest this year, the weekend after. It's the weekend of the Iowa State game, this coming football season.
Oh,
If he
first
was
home.
born on leap year, he
Yeah.
would have been 21.
Yep.
Yeah, first home game this year is at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just wanted to say happy birthday to Hayden Fry. And
Where does he live? Mesquite?
I think that's right.
Mesquite, Nevada?
Yeah.
That's outside of Las Vegas, right?
Yes.
Isn't it way outside?
I don't know how far outside, but it's
I was thinking it was on the border with Arizona.
Oh, it's.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I've
Well,
never.
it's Nevada. We know that.
Yeah.
that's where he found Jerry Montgomery, who's now the
That's right.
That's
defensive line coach at Michigan.
He is?
Yeah,
I
Is
didn't
he
know
really?
that.
yeah.
Oh,
I'll be darned.
so that's something new.
Well, speaking
No, he's
of,
been there 2 years now.
how did he end
Okay.
up there? What's the connection?
You know, I don't know what the connection is. He was at Wyoming as a defensive line coach before he went to Michigan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, their defensive coordinator, of course, is now a guy whose son played defensive end for us. I'm drawing on his name.
So am I. That might be the connection too.
Probably is.
Bob, come on, you got a good
Madison,
mind.
Greg Madison.
There we go.
There you go.
Used to be with Notre Dame. Used
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
with Florida, I think.
Yes.
That's it.
There's a
Thank you.
connection right there.
Well, speaking of new coaches,
Yeah.
the Hawkeyes have a new football coach, not head coach. They've got a new offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and his name is Greg Davis. Greg Davis came to us by way of Texas. Texas. He was there 13 years as their offensive coordinator and I believe and quarterbacks coach.
Yep.
And he did some pretty marvelous things down there in that time.
He hasn't coached for a year and a half, has he?
A year. Well, yeah, a year and a half.
Skipped
yeah.
a football season.
Yep.
Yep. Missed the 2011 season.
He got resigned. He got quit along with a whole bunch of other coordinators and assistants after they had a 5-7 season.
Mac Brown's first losing season, wasn't it, at Texas?
That's right.
In whatever it was, 13 years.
And
Yeah.
that doesn't sit well when you got a handful of 5-star recruits and more 4-star recruits than you can shake a stick at.
Well, therein lies the difference, though, between Mac Brown and Kirk Ferentz. he wouldn't have fired those. I mean, I'm not criticizing either way, but you know, our coach is a lot more loyal to his assistants than Mac Brown apparently was. So
Yeah.
you have one
Different
bad
atmosphere
season.
down
Well,
there.
it is a different.
Did his job, maybe.
Yeah, that's what you don't know. A lot of times those things where a bunch of staff people go are the coach's way of saving his own job.
That's
He gets
exactly
told
what
by
it
his
was.
boss or by the alumni that something's got to change, so he
I suppose.
sacrifices some of his staff.
But think
Now,
about that:
nobody will ever
1-5-7
know.
season after what, averaging 10 or 11 wins a year
Yeah.
for a long time.
And winning a national championship.
Yes, and
National
almost another one.
championship, two Heisman Trophy runner, and one additional finalist for the Heisman.
And to think of what a state to recruit out of.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wrap it up.
That's a good connection to have, isn't it?
Yes.
Now in the state of Texas, aren't you guys kind of excited about this hire?
very much,
I am.
very
Yeah.
much,
Yeah. What
and
do you-
maybe is almost as excited about the recruiting aspects as I am what I've read and learned about his skills teaching quarterback to college kids. He's a
Yeah.
very well thought of quarterbacks coach. And, you know, Texas, in their history, have sent 5 quarterbacks to the NFL. In their long history, only 5 Texas university quarterbacks have made it to the NFL. 3 of them came under his watch.
Right.
3 guys he produced: Colt McCoy, Chris Sims, and then Vince Young.
Yeah.
And those 3 guys could really play. And they weren't all the same kind of quarterback.
That's
No,
what's
they
interesting.
sure weren't.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's the buzz on Mr.
And
Davis.
were they all from the state of Texas when they went to school there?
I'm thinking Vince
Young,
Young
I
was
thought.
from Louisiana or somewhere, wasn't he?
Is that right?
Was he? I didn't think Vince
I
Young
can't-
was from
I
Texas.
can't remember.
Uh,
But, I mean, we don't know Greg Davis, but you've got to think that high on his private list of priorities is to go back home and take recruits away from the Longhorns.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, he
Good
won't ever
point.
he won't ever say
Yeah.
that, but it's pretty clear that he was shown the door, and he would love to go take some recruits away from him.
He's got the incentive.
Now, if you were a quarterback on the present Iowa team or have been just recently recruited by the Iowa team, you'd be pretty excited, wouldn't you?
I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I also think it's a shame A.J. Derby didn't
Yeah.
stick around from him.
I would agree.
But it is what it is. Can't look back. Got to look forward. A lot of people are excited. Now, we should also note, he spent 6 years at Tulane prior to going to Texas. He
Isn't
was
that
3 years head
Catholic school?
coach. Tulane is, yes,
Yeah.
in New Orleans. 3 years there as a head coach, 3 years as an assistant. And
But that was a long time ago.
long time ago. And he also, it would have McNeese State in Texas. And as we mentioned earlier, he's a born and raised Texas native. So he's got the connections.
It was at North Carolina with Mac Brown.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Hayden Fry knows him.
Oh, I bet he does.
I bet he does too. That's a good question. Hadn't thought about that.
Bet he does.
Two guys from Texas.
Pat Hardy wrote an interesting article in today's Press Citizen talking about the difference in talent Texas had, or that Davis had while at Texas, and the talent level he'll have here. It's going to be some adjustment for him. But everything I've read about him is that he's a very flexible coach and rolls with the talent he has. If it's a option style quarterback, for example, he'll roll with that. If it's a pass or a pro style, he'll come up with things for that. And it has to be noted, his perceived strengths and weaknesses are very similar to Ken O'Keefe. And, same stuff every time.
Well,
Supples Flowers is here with our
Hey.
weekly bouquet.
Thank you.
Thank you very
you
much.
very
Isn't that
much.
beautiful?
Yes.
We don't want to cover up the Matt Gatens bobblehead, though.
well,
that little bobblehead right there.
as soon as a receiver drops a ball or a back fumbles going for a 10-yard run, it'll be his.
It'll be O'Keefe's fault.
Be Davis's fault. No, it'll be Davis.
Oh, some of what happens this year will still be O'Keefe's fault.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Well,
so
I'm tickled about this hire, and I've also been told, take it for what it's worth, it's rumor that Coach Campbell, the wide receivers coach, who was rumored to be
yes,
up for the job, that Davis is going to be basically tutoring him to be the next offensive coordinator if Ferentz is still around.
okay.
I don't think they want to lose Coach Campbell, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put some kind of other tag on his title, like assistant head coach, the title he had at Michigan.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I also heard some other interesting tidbits. The Hawkeye coaches just got back from their cruise.
Yes.
And I talked to some fans who were on the cruise who said that, number one, Norm Parker was on the cruise.
Good.
And looked great,
Yes.
getting
I bet,
around.
I bet he had a good time.
And they said he did. What they also said is that Norm has a new office in the football complex down in the basement. He will be a consultant for the football team. And apparently he's also going to do some foundation work,
Good.
Oh.
there's not a better guy
He'd be
in
excellent.
that position.
He'd be excellent.
I'd give him money just to listen to him talk.
Oh, yeah,
He's great on
he's
the iPhone
entertaining.
search.
Yes.
He's right up there with Hayden,
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as entertainment.
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
Naturally funny,
Oh, yeah.
self-deprecating.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty quick on his feet.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
You might want to rephrase that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. With his verbiage.
Where are you getting all this information from?
I know people that know people.
Oh, you are.
Friends that were on the cruise that talked to Norm, and,
Yeah.
what they said is they got to talk to all the coaches,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and not just
Oh,
a hi,
sure,
how you
yeah.
doing, but talk to Coach Ferentz, talk to Mary, and had some real good quality time with them. So
That's good.
something to look forward to.
I'm sure that coaching staff looks forward to that every year to get away from
Oh.
things a little bit. Yeah.
I sure would. That'd be nice.
Great timing for that.
Yeah.
I think it indicates the last of their leisure time because they are buried now in preparation for spring practice.
And recruiting the
Yeah.
2013 class.
But they'll be even more buried with all the changes. They'll have a lot more to adapt to this year than previous years. And
What kind of team does Northern Illinois have?
Very
They-
good.
but they lost a lot of seniors, Pat.
Yeah, they did. But
Senior dominated, but
Northern Illinois' seniors to be and juniors to be were kids recruited by Jerry Kill, who's at Minnesota now. They had a very good record. They were like 9-2, 9-3.
I think they won 10 games this year, and they won their first bowl game, didn't they? And they,
I think
They
that's
did
right.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's right.
the head coach now, since Jerry Kill left, is came from the University of Wisconsin staff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
he
right.
did. He did a good job with Kill's recruits, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm sure this guy knows how to recruit as well.
By the way, speaking of Wisconsin, it looks
Yes.
like they're going to lose yet another coach.
Wow.
Yeah, which would make 7.
To where?
Oh, Pat, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Bob mentioned Wisconsin. I read last night where. To the Rams.
Oh,
That's where.
it's kind of
St.
late
Louis
for that
Rams.
to be happening.
That's a lot of coaches they've lost this year and last year. And have they hired an offensive coordinator? Didn't they just lose one?
They lost
Their
one.
Their
but
offensive coordinator went where as a head coach? Didn't he go somewhere down
Pitt.
south?
Pitt.
Pitt.
Was it Pitt? Okay.
Is that the guy at Pitt who was here, one of those people who bailed after only a year?
My
just
brother
almost-
used to work for him in high school football.
Oh, really?
That guy, yeah.
Oh, just the sort of thing that's unconscionable.
One year.
He's
yeah.
left everybody high and dry. Where my brother,
He stayed at Tulsa for a year.
1 year at Tulsa, he left his high school team. Which I guess nobody could really hold it against him to take an NCAA job. But
Yeah.
my brother said back then he won't be there long. He's doing every bridge he's got
Wow.
until he gets where he wants to go. So, and where did he end up? Arizona State. Does that sound right?
Yes,
Sounds
Okay.
right. Yeah.
yes. I always have trouble remembering. Rodriguez is at Arizona and
That's right.
Graham's
oh yeah,
at Arizona
that's right.
State.
Yeah. Grant. Thank you.
You were talking about somebody going from Wisconsin to the NFL. I saw where Joel Hilgenberg has been made a coach. Packers.
You know, I did read that because
Yeah.
at one time he was interested in the Iowa job,
Right.
and instead he went with the Packers, and that was as a result of Joe Philbin
Yeah.
taking off
To
with the
Miami.
NFL. Yep.
Mhm.
So, well,
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I'd completely forgotten about that. It kind of got lost in all the shuffle there.
What's his position? What position is he at?
Well,
now? Which
you
I
know,
can't remember what the.
I don't
heard
know if
that-
he's official offensive line coach.
I didn't think he had that job. It was some other kind of assistant.
Yeah, can't remember either.
It was more of a job that Brian Ferentz might have gotten his first year in the NFL. He's definitely not the line coach yet, but I think that's the direction he's
Yeah.
headed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting direction for Joel because, I mean, it's clear he didn't waste the money he made.
No.
He took care of himself, and to see him now starting into a career at the bottom,
You think Jerry had any influence on him?
I would think so.
I
yeah.
think
Yeah,
so too.
invested wisely.
That's a good dad,
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
instead of watching your kid blow all his or her money.
And
Yeah.
he flew one of those biplanes.
Oh, did he?
Jerry?
He owns no
Joel.
Joel.
Oh, he does. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he owns one. He used to fly over my house. And
Wow, that'd be, a
Married,
good,
married a girl from Iowa City.
that's
that'd be a
right.
good thing to sell.
Who did Joel marry?
Those Bella Bibles.
One of Al Sherburne's
Sherburne.
daughters.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
And he's quite a guy.
Al and Nancy, I should say. Not
yeah,
just Al's.
yeah.
Yeah.
Figured we'd better talk about Iowa
lost them
men's
both.
basketball.
Yeah.
As soon as this program's over tonight, you can flip over to ESPNU, again, ESPNU, and watch the Hawkeyes play at Nebraska. This is a really important game for Iowa.
Oh boy.
Their record is 15-14, and their Big Ten record is 7-9. If they win their last two games, they'll be 500 in the Big Ten,
And we'll assure them of a winning season, no matter what happens.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Really important. Nebraska is they've really struggled this year, other than when they went to Iowa.
Oh.
Their record in the Big Ten is 4-12. Their record is 12-15.
And for that reason, it's also a really important game for Doc Sadler,
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
he's in
Sounds
the
trouble.
Nebraska coach. He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty close to. We're talking about being pushed out the door. He's
Yeah, I think
pretty
so.
close.
Yeah.
In fact, they've already started to discuss successors.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
The leading rumored candidate is Dana Altman, who came from Creighton and did that flyby at Arkansas and did at Oregon.
Just didn't like that Sioux pig or whatever they do.
But he's only been out at Oregon? 2 seasons?
I think 2 seasons.
Yeah, this is his second, right?
Probably decided he'd like to get back to the Midwest. Well,
Yeah.
that assumes a lot.
I don't know. If
I don't
want
know about
job.
that, but it does sound like Doc's going to lose his job in Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if any of you have heard, but I thought I had read over the weekend that Nebraska's either leading scorer or second leading scorer was injured this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read it online, and I haven't read anything else official anywhere. So maybe it didn't happen.
One of those giants who killed us has been out for several weeks. I don't know if he's back playing or not. I can't remember his name.
Well,
But they had 2 or 3. Big guy would go out and they'd bring in one that was bigger yet. And then, of course, the guy that killed us was the one who kept driving the lane, making layups again.
Well, and then, just last week, Michigan State mauled them.
Oh.
They only scored 34 points
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
against Michigan State.
beat them like a redheaded stepchild.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Terrible. And to think that we got beat by them here,
Where was that game?
that was at.
At Michigan State.
Oh, it was?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, wait a second. I'm not sure now. That,
Not either.
Okay.
I
It
am
may,
sure
it may have been over there in Nebraska, but
Michigan State just lost to Indiana in
Yeah.
Bloomington.
Rather.
Yeah.
70 to 55.
Yeah.
And why are these teams so hot when we like Michigan? These
Well,
Nebraska, I mean, if we go in there tonight and play defense and shoot 47 or 8%, we've got a chance. But we have a heck of a time on the road lately.
yeah, lately. It's tough,
Yeah.
though. It's just tough on the road.
It is, yeah.
Mike Gatens called this one at lunch on Monday. We were looking at the games to pick.
Yeah.
at the quarterback club luncheon. I said, Mike, Michigan State, Indiana. And he just immediately said, Indiana needs it more.
Yeah, that's a tough place to go into.
Well, it's also
Yeah.
senior night, right? Wasn't it in Indiana?
Don't know.
They have a.
Do they have any seniors?
Oh, maybe they
I don't
don't.
know.
Yeah, they might not have.
They might not.
You know, you're talking about defensive effort, before we forget, one of the defensive efforts that deserves pretty high praise is Devin Marble last week against Wisconsin. Guarded Jordan Taylor most of the game. Taylor's an all Big Ten guard. And until the last 30 seconds, Jordan Taylor had 4 points against Devin Marble.
Yeah.
Made a huge difference. And then he got a layup and that banked in three-pointer as the as time
Nobody was
expired.
watching him. They just let him go.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't want to risk fouling.
No.
How lucky were we that Gatens made both those free throws?
Well,
You know, if he'd have missed that second one, his three-pointer would have put us into overtime.
Well,
Wouldn't that have been a shame?
Mr. Taylor had been guarded. He wasn't guarded on this play.
Oh, what- okay.
no, he wasn't. It was a half court, banked in gimme.
But still, you give Wisconsin credit for hanging in there and fighting to the end. I mean, we had them down by 10, 11 points a couple times and end up with a 1-point game, even though that
Well,
wasn't that close.
and we beat a team that also Wisconsin played a good ball game.
They
It's
played
like
a great game.
Yeah, that we played well and they played poorly. I mean, they.
We beat them there, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a great night in the arena.
Oh
Well, it
boy.
wasn't.
Oh,
Best of the season, best in I don't know how many years.
Why do you say it was the best?
Well, it was a big crowd, lots of students. They were into the game,
Yeah.
and Matt was incredible. I mean, he's
Amazing.
had 3.5 games that are all caliber.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
the way
Way to put
he's
it.
playing.
I hope he's got a few more left in him. Wouldn't that be fun, huh?
Well,
He was playing defense, too.
Well, he's done that
Yeah.
most of the year.
he
That's
did a
right.
Most-
really good job.
Most of the last 2 years, he's
Yeah.
played really
Yeah.
good defense.
At Illinois, he really defended Brandon Paul very well. This is a guy who can go off for 30 points at any time, and Matt really held him down well and kept Iowa in the game by doing it. Just didn't have a matchup at Illinois. Big man.
Boy,
The guy is something.
Well, Brandon Paul got.
He is
40.
when he wants to play. He doesn't always come to play hard, but the Illinois game against us illustrates what a big man, 7 feet, 7'1", who's got skills and plays hard. What a difference
Yeah.
somebody like that can make in a game.
Yeah.
And we've got one coming.
Yes, we do.
And it's going to make just as big a difference on the defensive side
Make
of
a
the ball.
huge difference.
Oh yeah, you've got a big man like that plug in the middle.
Think like Basabi and McCabe and May
Yeah.
can do with a true center playing in there.
have you
Yeah.
met him yet?
Now, and assuming Olaseni develops,
And him.
he's obviously can jump. He's got a big wingspan.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Olaseni redshirt next year. We're going to have so many players, and he still has a lot to learn.
You know, one of the things that was really interesting this week to talking about next year, Fran has not committed to whether he's going to use the scholarship that he's got available, but he and a couple of the assistants I've heard say we'd be more likely to look at a junior college player, we'd be more likely to look at somebody with some size. And then a report came out last weekend that he'd offered a scholarship to a 6'2" point guard at a prep school in Florida who's originally from Chicago, which was a little bit inconsistent with what they've been, and leads you to wonder if now there's some question about one of the two freshman guards qualifying for admission.
I just read this morning that the Ingram kid from Indianapolis may be questionable grade-wise.
Well, there's the answer to the question.
A lot of people from Indiana are saying that's the case.
Yeah.
He, by the way, Ingram, had a tremendous game last night. In fact, made ESPN.
Oh, really?
They played, he's on the team, something Central, North Central. And they played the number one team in the state, went right down to the wire, and the kid on the number one team from the state, who is a 5-star recruit going to Michigan State, of course, Harris, he hit a 3-point shot as time expired to break a tie game and send, Ingram home for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But I guess Ingram had a tremendous game, scoring and defensively, and his skill set is as one of a very strong defender. So we'll see.
Defender and drives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not as a shooter.
But there is now some rumors about his eligibility or ability to stay focused on schoolwork.
Okay.
I also thought maybe else on the current roster who's not going to stick around.
That could be.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
But you usually wouldn't know this early. Would you?
Well, if anyone
If
would, it
somebody
would
was
be the
leaving.
coaches. They'd know who's unhappy. You just, I don't know.
Well, let's hope that's not the case.
You bet. Let's hope. Hawks tonight, right after Sports Opinion. Just flip the channel if you have ESPNU. Unfortunately, people don't. Now, here's a little helpful hint.
What channel is that? They have MediaCom.
178 on MediaCom.
Okay.
178. Now, several times, what MediaCom locally has done when the Iowa game is on ESPNU is they'll put it on ESPN2, knowing that a lot of fans don't have ESPNU. So
But they don't seem to announce that.
they'd never announce it, and they didn't do it last time the Hawks were on ESPNU. Maybe they'll do it tonight. I don't know. But
I don't think I get that.
ESPNU? I know you don't. I know you don't. Do you have it at home, Pat?
Yes.
Yeah. And Bob,
On one TV.
Is that the 9.8 thing? Or
no. It's
It's on the digital package.
it's on the digital tier,
Okay.
and I'm guessing digital doesn't
Along
mean
with
a whole lot to you.
ESPN News and Bloomberg Report and BBC
Yeah,
Network.
We've got it on one TV also,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Well, if we're worse,
I listen to the radio anyway.
KXAC AM 800,
Yeah.
it'll be there.
Dolph and Bobby do a terrific job.
Don't
They do.
They do.
I really enjoy listening.
I prefer listening to them, quite frankly.
And we get to listen to Dolph next Monday at the
Quarterback
Club.
Club, yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait for that. That'll be good.
He's pretty entertaining as a speaker as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
He really is. And he got his first job in my hometown calling my high school games.
Really?
Did he really?
Very true.
Jacksonville, Illinois?
When I first, it was at a radio seminar thing, and I didn't know who he was. He was in line next to me at the buffet, and he introduced himself. First, I said, your name is really familiar to me. He asked me where I was from, and I told him. So that's where I got my first job.
Oh,
I said,
darn.
I knew it. And he admitted he remembers my dad and my brother, but not me. They were, I think, a little more memorable with their careers than I was. For 1 year for him, he got to see.
Well, 2
my
out of 3 is
brother.
not bad.
Yeah.
Who recruited your brother down to Missouri?
Al. Drawing a blank. He was my brother's coach for 1 year, and then they brought in the other guy who used to play for the Raiders and played for Nebraska in college, and took him to 3 bowl games back when not everybody went to a bowl game. Warren Powers was his. Al Onofrio.
Okay.
Oh,
was
that's a
the
tough
guy
name
who
to
recruited
remember.
him. He went to go see a competitor play in the small 1A school that my high school and our arch rival were always butting heads in the state tournament back then. And he went to see the competitor play, and he saw my brother and offered both the competitor and my brother, and they both ended up being starting guards. My brother was right guard. The Jones kid, his name, was a guard for 2 years. Jones kid started 3 years.
Wow.
Little tiny schools, right around 100 enrollment each, and they're starting.
What did your brother
For
weigh when
Mizzou.
he played football?
He, offensive guard, he was 6'4", 235. And he started 2 years, and
But when
nowadays
did he play? That was probably an
he
average
played
size then, wasn't it?
76 to 79, I guess.
Well, that was pretty good size then.
Yeah, and they didn't redshirt back then too much at Mizzou. But he played with quality players. Kellen Winslow, Phil Bradley,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
James Wilder, Leo Lewis.
Boy.
There were a lot of guys that either played in the NFL or in Phil Bradley's case, he played for the the Toronto Blue Jays for, I think he had about a 12-year career in the Major League Baseball.
Well, that and Missouri hasn't had that many good football teams, so he was there in the. Have they?
Up
I
to,
mean, they have
up to that
lately,
point, they were very competitive in the Big Eight.
Yeah.
And after Warren Powers left, there was about a 15, 20-year drought.
That's what I was thinking of, I guess.
Yeah, that's all turned around now. Although now they're going to the SEC and paying
We had one
how
of those
many
droughts.
millions of dollars to get out.
We had a 20-year drought, didn't we, guys?
Yeah, we did.
Before Hayden got here.
We did.
Yeah.
One of Jim Zavel's great lines about that is, well, everybody has a bad decade nowadays. We just had two.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
Or in the Cubs' case, a
He has
bad
a
century.
million.
Yeah,
He does.
that's right.
Well, we can't forget Senior Day. While we're talking about men's basketball, Saturday afternoon, 1:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network will be Matt Gayton's last home game as a Hawkeye. Northwestern's coming to town, and you know they're going to need this game badly to have a hope of getting into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
They're going to get beat by Ohio, probably, at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then they have to come here and finish the season. And personally, I'd like nothing better than to see the Purple Pussycats go out on a losing note
They better.
after what they did to us there in Evanston, after what they've done to us so many years in a row in
Yeah.
Evanston. Would really like to put a big purple knot on their head. And so I heartily encourage everyone out there to get to the game, get there early. I think the Senior Day festivities will be pre-game.
Yeah, men's basketball still does
They still do.
Oh, they do?
pregame version.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Game time is 1:30, so the doors will open at noon.
Yeah.
Get there early. Support
It-
the seniors.
It is an important game for us from this standpoint too. We still have a chance at postseason play.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We're probably not going to the NCAA unless we happen to win the Big Ten tournament, but we certainly have a shot at the NIT, these other two tournaments that now exist.
The CDI.
Yeah.
We've got a shot at those, and I think any of those three would be interested in playing a game in Iowa City.
Yep.
To have that shot, don't you think? I mean, we're 15 and 14 overall now with 2 regular season and 1 guaranteed Big Ten game. We have 3 left. We've got to win 2 of them.
Oh, at least.
Yeah. We get
17 and 15
Two out of
is-
3, or
2 out of 3 we
3
have
out
to
of
have.
4 would be
win a
nice.
couple in the tournament.
Yeah,
Impossible.
that's right.
Not
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, we're playing pretty well against quality teams.
I don't
But
think
17 is our bare minimum. We've got to get to that number.
I wouldn't want to play Iowa if I was in the Big Ten.
Just depends what day to catch us, you know.
Yeah?
I think we're going to struggle against a true big man like Zeller
That's right.
or the Hammerhead from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
That was my dad's favorite word, Hammerhead. I'm thinking that was my middle name.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope that wasn't something you used at home too often.
No, that was one he would save for
The
special
opponents.
people.
Yeah.
You know, what a Hammerhead. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Say, don't you? Just me. I watch a lot of television. I watch a lot of Big Ten games. I think that it was really a rough year on the officials because the people are just they're more driving for the basket. They know they're going to drive. Anybody in my way is going to get knocked down.
Yep.
Big time basketball has become very hard to officiate.
Oh, I think it's
I
just
think so.
terrible.
I mean, you could, in my opinion, legitimately, if you wanted to call the game this way, call fouls on every offensive possession.
There's a lot of grabbing.
Just have
Yeah.
a parade
And
to
a lot of
them.
guys
Yeah.
getting hurt. They get up from a pile and they're grabbing their arms, and I don't know if it's not an act. I don't think anymore.
No.
But
You get a lot of coaches who, I'm convinced, instruct their team to, when the game starts, grab jerseys, grab arms. Let's see what we can get away with, what they're going to call and what they're not.
Look what Illinois did to Matt Gatens
Yeah.
on Sunday night.
yes,
They were grabbing.
Yes,
They were
uh-huh.
shoving, not punching, but into his gut, face guarding, scratching. And just everything they could get away with.
What do you think about his dad watching all this happening going on? And he said, "That's my son that they're grabbing." Or,
I think he probably is okay with it because he knows his son is going to drain a three as soon as he gets
Yeah, that's
free.
right.
Okay.
Man'll get even.
You know, one of the ways you slow down a shooter is you just bump to nudge him
Yes.
off his route.
That's right.
Matt goes through screens and off of screens, and if you just bump him a little bit and throw him off his route, that's going to be a pretty successful defensive play most of the time.
That's what they did in the second half, especially.
Oh, they were grabbing him.
Yes,
Big time.
grabbing it.
It's a
And
miracle.
no calls.
No.
You've got to draw blood to get a call sometimes, and then
So
other
we got a little
times,
homered over there, did we?
Ted Valentine was the ref, and
Yeah.
really getting a reputation. His reputation, I should say,
See me.
is becoming global. The announcers are talking about him as having to be the focus of the game. He's the same ref who confronted Bobby Knight at Indiana, if you recall. I don't know how long it's been, but he's the one who Knight confronted at halftime after bitterly contesting a call in the first half. Knight walked right at him as if he was going to hit him over, and then veered to the left just at the last minute, trying to intimidate him. And it seems to me like Ted Valentine's been trying to make up for that ever since.
Well, I won't mention an assistant coach's name at Monday Morning Quarterback, but he kind of alluded to that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, showmanship by Valentine
Yeah.
to get noticed.
Yeah, same with Eddie.
Ed Hightower.
Hightower, same reputation.
Yeah.
I think Ed's doing a little better in that regard. I don't think he's quite the showman that he was a couple of years ago.
Maybe he's mellowing in his old age.
Did anybody here watch the Missouri-Kansas game this weekend?
I saw a little bit of it.
The end of the game was atrocious. Now, I'm a little prejudiced. I'm pulling for Mizzou. Can't stand. I don't care who Kansas is playing. I'm pulling for the other team. And Missouri in the second half had a 19-point lead at one time. Kansas fought their way back. Made it a close game.
Yep.
Missouri.
That was a home game, wasn't it?
It was a home game for Kansas.
Yeah.
Missouri player late in the game went up for almost a layup. He got just hammered. I mean, just crushed. No contact with the ball. Just got crushed, knocked to the ground. No basket, no foul.
Oh.
No.
And then Kansas gets the ball, puts up a desperation three-pointer, and Missouri defender. It was like Mark Gannon against Minnesota so many years ago. The phantom
Phantom foul.
last
yeah.
game at the old field house. Supposed to be the last game. And anyway, Missouri defender goes straight up, doesn't touch ball, doesn't touch body, and they whistle him.
Yeah.
There's like a second and a half left. And the guy steps up, makes all three free throws, and by 1 point. And it was just unconscionable. There was not even contact.
Yeah, I've gone through basketball seasons where I don't ever complain about the officiating, but if I was a coach, I'd complain about every game.
Back in the Fieldhouse days, I don't remember it being
No.
like this.
And those were days where there were still two officials most of the
That's
years.
right.
Two
Yeah.
officials. I remember being...
No three-point shot.
The game is really fast.
It is, and probably more physical.
Players are so athletic.
Yes, that's right.
Run faster, jump higher, they're stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yet, when you look,
Wasabi proves that. He's really strong.
and yet when you look back on those old days at the field house, I mean, how about that 70 team where we averaged 102 points without a three-point shot?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
That
I
was
mean,
skill.
Yeah, so these athletes are bigger and they are more talented, but I'm not sure it was any more entertaining. I think more entertaining then.
I loved the game back in the 70s,
Yeah.
the Big Ten basketball.
Yeah.
I think it was more entertaining when there was less wrestling, pushing,
Yes.
grabbing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do too.
When it was always physical, but no, not anywhere
It's
like
more
what we're
physical
seeing
now.
in the last decade.
I don't like the pushing and the shoving and the scratching and grabbing. I just
You know,
don't-
it's carried over to women's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Boy, this Johnson, she really takes a beating. In
she
there.
does.
I bet Pat was watching the same thing I was Sunday at the last women's home game on
Yeah.
Senior Day. And I can't remember the player for Michigan, but they had a lot of beefy girls. I don't mean fat. I mean big, thick, broad-shouldered, strong.
yeah.
And the shoving match underneath in the paint on Morgan Johnson was just dumbfounding. I mean, taking two fists and just shoving her out, pushing her out with their fists. No call. Grabbing her shirt, her jersey. No call.
2 and 3 players doing that to her.
Yeah, it was just a mugging.
You know, here we sat, we talked, you know, and it's so obvious, but some of that stuff goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But by golly, we won, and look how we finished that season, huh?
We gotta
It was
spend some
a
time on that.
great day.
Oh, yep.
Wonderful win. One of the Michigan's coach, Kevin Borseth, is an interesting study. I think he's a bit of a wild man. He's probably one of those people who's a very nice guy until the game starts, and then he just goes nuts.
Yes.
He looks like Mr. Clean.
Well, there
Shaved
was
head.
a bailiff on night court.
Yes.
Who people
Bull. He looks more like Bull than Mr. Clean.
Maybe it's the same guy.
Yeah.
At the end of the first, this is a contrast in coaching styles.
Yeah.
At the end of the first half, and we had gone on a run and gotten up on them pretty good at the end of the half. As soon as the buzzer sounds, he races out on the court, and he's got this guard. Her name is Courtney Boylan, and she made like second or third team All Big Ten. So she's pretty darn good. And he gripped by both arms,
Yes.
and he's in her face so much that she's leaning back.
Yeah,
I don't know
leaning
if
back.
she's trying to get, if he's spitting in her face and she's trying to get out of the way of that, or if she's afraid of him, which would
She looked
be
afraid
quite
to me.
reasonable.
She looked him right in the eye and didn't seem ready to avert her gaze for fear of getting yelled at more.
Well, it was really bad, and by the time he did not take his hands off her until they got off the court, he switched as they started to walk off, put his arm around her, and by the time they got to the in front of the tunnel, they were both smiling. But it was really bizarre. Well, the contrast is, it's a big day for Iowa. We've got to have a win. We're fighting to get to at least the 4th seed in the Big Ten tournament. We're fighting to get into the NCAA tournament. Big crowd, senior day. Lisa comes over and sits down in front of her players after the introductions and after the national anthem, claps her hands, leans forward and says, let's have some fun today.
Fun. I read her lips.
Is that what she said?
That's exactly what she said. I read her
Just
lips.
lighten the mood immediately.
I'd like to ask you a question. What do you were this girl's parents, Boylan's parents.
They were there.
Were they there?
Yes, I'm assuming it was their parents. She came out of the tunnel after the game while our post-game ceremony was going on over to where the Michigan crowd had been up into the stands and hugged a couple.
Yeah.
Is that
I
right?
assume it
Stood
was
there
their
and talked to him
parents.
for a while.
Yeah.
Quite a while. During the whole ceremony. She watched it. She was a observer.
I've actually been tempted, and I don't have anything to do with Michigan's program, to send Dave Brandon, who's their athletic director, an email to be sure he knows about, because it's not the sort of thing that you would ever, if you were watching the game on TV, you wouldn't see it. If you were looking at film of the game, film would stop as soon as the time buzzer sounded. I think it was very inappropriate.
And I think, too, you had to see the look on her face.
She was surprised.
She looked surprised, but she looked fear.
Do you know that anything happened in the previous, the last play? Or?
I don't think he was happy with her defense.
I don't. She
on
only played
Melissa
a minute
Dixon.
and a half in the second half. She's
wow.
been a starter all year.
And isn't she their number 2 scorer?
She may well be. I mean, I know she made one of the all-conference teams.
She played
Oh, my.
1 minute second half.
Well, there had to be something he was upset about.
And she just stood, she's much shorter than he is.
Let's have some fun, huh?
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
That's-
I read
Well,
her
we did.
lips, and I thought that's great. Well, there were a lot of milestones, I think,
Yes.
on Sunday for the women's game. Number one, it was their 8th straight win, which is just incredible. Their final record for the regular season is 19-10. In the Big Ten, it's 11-5. 11-5.
We were 3-5 at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Is that tied for second?
Yes,
Yeah.
four-way tie for second. And
Yeah.
we're the
Give
third
us the
seed.
standings there, Pat.
Penn State won by two game
Okay.
margin. We tied with Ohio State, Michigan State, and Purdue at 11-5. And we get the tiebreaker over Michigan State because we beat them. Ohio State gets the tiebreaker over us. They beat us, and we only played them once.
Yeah.
And we get the tiebreaker over Purdue because they beat us once, we beat them once,
We beat them by
but
more.
we beat them by more. We only lost to them by 2 at West Lafayette and beat
Okay.
them by about 12 or 15
And
here.
we should have beaten them in West
Yes, we
Lafayette.
should have.
That'd been 9 in a row. That'd been
Yes,
9
we
in a
should
row.
have. We had the shot at the end of the game that would have won it.
Well, the refs.
Had
We
two
could have been
shots.
second all by ourselves pretty easily if we'd have started a little better. But
Well,
what a finish.
And it's not just a finish, but it's what they've overcome.
Yes.
And how they've adapted to the loss of Jamie Printy. Really, the loss
It's a
of
terrible
Virginia
thing to
Johnson
say, but
too.
that might have been the thing that really
Catapulted them. Yeah.
That's right.
Samantha
Did we
Logic,
win
the
5 or
freshman.
6 without Jamie in that span?
7.
7.
7.
Wow.
She went
down at
6.
Wisconsin.
She went down at the end of the second of that 8-game break.
Okay.
So we won 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were right.
Okay.
But I think it is a fact, and this is almost heretical because Jamie is just terrific. She made third team All Big Ten, having missed the last 6 games.
Missed a third of the Big Ten season.
But I think without her, our ball movement was better right away. In retrospect, I think that means that we were probably being too deferential to her because of how good she is, trying to get her the ball for a 3-point shot or for her to drive. But in the first couple games that she was out, our perimeter ball movement on offense was terrific.
Which will
that
help
little
us for
that-
next year, preparing for
that
next
freshman team.
season, I would say.
Samantha Logic and Melissa Dixon.
Oh, boy.
Now that's
They stepped
if I'm
up.
trying to figure out what Borseth was so upset about. Melissa Dixon was just draining 3-pointer after 3-pointer in that first half, and
Yeah.
Boylan was among the Michigan players trying to. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Well, it was a thing of beauty Sunday. It was really an awful lot like the Iowa men's game at home against Wisconsin, where you had, instead of Matt Gatens, you had Melissa Dixon just taking the team on her back almost.
She's got a quick release.
Oh,
How tall is she, Pat?
Oh, she's
very.
probably no, she's not. She's probably 5'8".
oh, is that it? Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's not.
Yeah.
she's a great defender. She's probably our best perimeter defender. I mean, she guards people on the
Freshman.
perimeter,
Will she
but
play,
she's also
a
but she's
two-guard?
no, she's playing the 3. She can play. She plays some
Wow.
too, but our guards have been Logic and Wallene. So Melissa's picks up the 3 where Jamie Prenty was playing, and she's guarding people taller than her. And she had a steal Sunday that was very important.
When was that?
Was in the first half. She came up with a Michigan pass.
Ah, what a game. It was so. There was a great crowd, well over 6,000
Why
people.
don't you talk about the freshman?
Melissa or Samantha?
Samantha Logic. You know,
She,
she got what's called a triple double. 13 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. Only the 4th time in the history of
ever.
Iowa women's basketball that had done this by a true freshman. The last 2 were Cash. Alexander, and about
One of Vivian's
12
players.
years, Karakhan Swagra.
Yeah.
No, it was, I think maybe Lisa's first year.
but you got a feeling, don't you, that
But
she's
not by
going to
a
get some more of
a
those.
freshman. She
Yeah.
Yeah.
certainly is going
Yeah.
to get more of them.
She's going to get more.
And I've been saying here for the last few weeks that our leading offensive rebounder. Well, now she's our leading overall
Yeah.
rebounder by quite a bit.
Point guard.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
She's just
mean,
what the
That,
doctor
that
ordered.
we've heard Lisa describe as
Yeah.
the one with the beer belly.
With the beer belly.
Yeah, yeah.
And she does have a little belly on.
Lisa said that publicly.
She said that to us that first time at the Monday Morning Quarterback Club. And it's true, and it's still there, and it's one of the things I really like about her is, feel like me.
She is tenacious in rebound.
But
She-
you have to have an instinct for the ball.
Absolutely.
That,
You
that
be able
she's
to
got a
tell where it's
natural
going.
instinct
Yes.
that a lot of players don't have.
When she develops a little better touch on the ball underneath the basket, she's going to score even more. Her outside shooting has been better than expected.
It's gotten better.
She's
And I-
drained some threes.
Yeah.
I think her passing skills are better than Cash Alexander.
Oh yeah, yeah, by quite a bit. Well, and again, this is I'm quoting Lisa. She said, "The rest of our team learned pretty quick that when Logic has the ball in her hand, you need
You
to pay
better
attention
be ready.
because you might
Yes.
get a Wilson imprint
Yep.
on the
Yeah,
side of your
yeah.
face."
Boy, I'll tell you what, the future looks bright if we can keep everybody healthy, huh?
Yeah, let's hope. Now, it should also be mentioned that Sam Logic, for the week in a row, was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. And for the first time, she was named Big Ten Player of the Week. That's really something. It should also be noted that junior center Morgan Johnson passed the 1,000 point mile marker earlier last week. So she's got 1,000 points in her career. And then we talked a little bit about the postseason honors. Morgan Johnson was a second team pick by
Should
both
have been
media.
first.
Oh, she should have been. Media
But
and
there's some
coaches.
good players in the league. There's no question
That's
about
right.
that either. Ohio State
Yeah.
got 2 and Penn State 2, and Morgan should have been on the first team instead of one of them.
I agree. And I don't. We'll find out here soon how she matches up under pressure with these gals. But we mentioned Jamie Prinny. She is a third team pick by both the coaches and the media. I really think stunk. Camille Wallin. Honorable mention.
Well, she made
Third team
one
by
third
one.
team and one honorable mention.
What did I write here? Camille, third team by the coaches, honorable mention by the media. I think that's a slight to her. One of the leading scorers
Yeah.
in the Big Ten,
I would agree.
one of the top all-around guards in the Big Ten, and honorable mention, third team. I hope she uses that as they begin the Big Ten tournament on Friday afternoon. Go ahead, Pat.
Well, I was going to say making all Big Ten is harder this year because we've got one more team, and they brought a couple really talented
Yeah.
athletes to the league.
Yeah.
Jordan Hooper, I thought, was probably the player of the year in the Big Ten.
Well, and they don't pad these teams in women's basketball either. It's 15 players for those top three teams. 5, 5, and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, now, the women are going to begin Big Ten tournament play on Friday at 1 p.m. That game will be on the Big Ten Network, and it will be against the winner of Nebraska versus Northwestern. In all likelihood, it's going to be Nebraska, a team that I think the Hawkeyes would like to get another crack at. They just walloped Ohio State on Sunday, I think.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Were we 0-2 against Nebraska?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They beat us twice in the space of about a week.
Good team.
Yeah.
Good team.
I
So
hope Northwestern gets hot. I'd rather play them.
Well, Northwestern's got a shot. It's a
Yeah.
neutral court, which will always make some difference.
Yep.
Northwestern's got a couple players who are very good, including, I think, a true freshman who made the all-freshman team. In fact, I believe she may have made one of the all-Big Ten teams.
Oh, really? Well,
And Samantha Logic made the all-freshman
freshman
first
team,
team.
unanimous all freshman pick.
Pat, have you ever been over to Indianapolis to the Big Ten
Never have.
women's?
Never have. People who go say that downtown Indianapolis, near what's now called First Bank Fieldhouse, used to be Conseco Fieldhouse, is fun in that hotels and shopping and restaurants are all within a couple blocks walking
Yeah.
distance.
It's right there. It's beautiful. I've never been to the postseason tournaments there, but I've been to events.
Well, you have a sister that lives
I have
there,
a
right?
sister there.
Yeah.
Indy is very convenient like that.
They loved it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
There
sure
were
did.
a lot of compliments this year on how compact that whole area was that you
Yeah.
were talking about there. So
Well, if you're going, cheer hard for the Hawks.
Yep.
The game Friday will be on the Big Ten Network around 1 o'clock, depending on what time the game before that gets over. It's also tournament time for the wrestlers. Big Ten Wrestling Tournament begins Saturday morning, 9 a.m. KXI have every minute of every Hawkeye match. So 9 a.m. and then 2 p.m. on Saturday would be the next round. On Sunday, it starts back up at noon, and then the finals are at 2 p.m. on Sunday.
okay.
Only the finals for the Big Ten Wrestling will be on the Big Ten Network Live. Everything else is on the radio on KXSC, and I'm really grateful for KXSC to do that. Mark Ironside.
Hated to wrestle.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stephen Grace and Mark Ironside. People don't realize what they go through. The sacrifices,
Yeah.
the travel, time away from family and work.
And they are so knowledgeable.
And entertaining.
And good together.
Yeah, you get
they work
Ironside
well
fired
together.
up, it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, it can be entertaining, and he'll be fired up at the Big Ten.
Oh, yes.
He'll say it just what he thinks. And,
You
Absolutely.
never have to guess if he thinks somebody's not working hard enough. Just right
Yeah.
out there.
I look forward to it. I love it. I
You know, he
really
works
do.
out with the wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
He does.
He
Oh,
he
yeah.
comes to the arena, gets into his gear, and gets down on the mat with them.
Yeah.
How old would he be now?
I'm gonna guess 30, early 30s.
In fact, I heard him say that he can tell he's getting a little older because it used to be when he'd do that and he'd walk into the wrestling room and ask who needs a partner today, nobody would volunteer. But the last couple of years, he's been getting some volunteers.
They raised their hand. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, speaking of Mark Ironside, there is a country music band. I can't think of their name. They're based in Cedar Rapids, young guys, and they actually have a good song that's made the charts a little bit. It's reached the charts, as they say. And their music video for this song features Mark Ironside and Dan Gable and Tom Brand. Primarily, it's Ironside because they're from Cedar Rapids, and
He's a prairie
and the
guy,
name of the
right?
song is "Take You Down."
Oh, he was Jefferson, wasn't he?
Oh, he was Prairie. He was
Oh,
Jefferson.
no, Jefferson.
Jeff.
Okay.
Okay.
That's John
I
Ironside.
get confused.
Cedar
on that,
Rapids
too.
guy, though. So,
Yeah,
okay.
all the way.
All right.
So they've got him in this video called "Take You Down,"
Yeah.
and it's. I tell you, when you watch it, you get really fired up because it's old clips of Ironside wrestling for the Hawkeyes and for the USA. He got a bronze or a silver medal in the Olympics. I forget which. At the end of it, it's he and Gable and Ironside walking off the mat together
Yeah.
in sweats. It's pretty cool.
But he won 2 national championships, didn't he?
Yes, at least 2. Yeah, was it just 2? I don't want to say just 2, but I can't remember now. I get all excited when we talk about him.
Well,
Joe,
I-
how we doing on time, buddy? 2 minutes? Holy cow.
We started a quarter hour.
We want to mention that West High girls beat City High. Really close game at the state tournament. I think it was a 2-point final score difference.
2 points.
City made a great comeback in the fourth quarter. West High will play, I don't know who, tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
Friday.
It might be, eh?
And the West High boys just dominated Bettendorf. They're going to play next Wednesday in the state tournament. They got a week off now.
I think West High plays between Mason City and Waukee, maybe.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Friday.
See if there's anything else I might have forgotten. Oh, Iowa baseball team began their season. They won their first game, then they lost their next 5. And they are going to be in the Austin P tournament this weekend in Clarksville, Tennessee. They'll face Akron, Austin P, and Youngstown State. We are out of time. Pat, thanks again for being here this winter. We're out here next week.
Enjoyed it.
And on behalf of Bob Boyd and Pat and Earl, I'm Dirk Keller saying thanks for watching and tune in next week. That was it, huh?
Yes,
Are we still on, Joe? Okay. We're still on. All right. Kind of a rough ending, but remember this. Either you're a Hawk or you're not. Thanks for watching every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., every Sunday night at 6 p.m. You can tune into my Facebook page and check it out there too. Or pat.tv. On behalf of all the guys here, thanks again. Go Hawks!
Amen.